Hey, welcome back to Tuesday Tea Time with Dorarena. And I want to welcome all those first time viewers and all those that will be watching the replay. We are presented from Women of Wisdom. We are a nonprofit organization, a mentoring organization, bridging the generational gap between the younger girls and the seasoned girls. How about that? So we are empowering with practical wisdom and confidence. So I want to welcome you here, and I have my cup with me. I have my Mrs. Smith cup with me today. Look at that. Yes. One of my I call her my daughter that I mentor, had that cup made for me. And so I'm putting my honey in my cup because I like honey in my tea. And I'm doing the ginger honey with the zinc in it. And I am putting my honey in my cup. So I hope that you all have your cup, have your beverage, whatever you have a taste for tonight, and that you fill your cup up with lots of wisdom, okay? I feel like I need to say this. I don't know who this is for, but I always say knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is powerful, okay? So don't forget to apply the things that you're learning, because that's what uh, gives you the experience and helps you to have a better lifestyle when you apply the things that you learn. I'm a learner. I love to learn. And I hope that you love to learn. And I'm talking to somebody. I don't know who you are, but you know what? Change your mindset about reading. You may not like reading. Change your mindset about reading, because reading gives you knowledge. And the more knowledge that you gain, the more understanding you'll have about things, and it will broaden your perspective and open up that capacity for you to receive more wisdom and knowledge, which will cause you to become more successful. How about that? I was telling my husband today, uh, I was at the office, and one of the things I said to myself, and then I told him, I have to change my mindset about fouling. And so I get so behind on my fouling because, that was something that I just really didn't like to do. So I said, I'm going to change my mindset about that. So choose today one thing that you're going to work at to change your mindset, and watch that benefit your life. You'll be surprised how healthier your mind will become when you decide to change your mindset to the positive from the negative. All right. I don't know who that was for, but I know that was for somebody. Okay, so here we go. Tea time. Mm. This is one of my favorite teas, so if you've been on here before, I drink this kind of tea. But I got my little top to keep my tea steeping and warmed. Okay, so let's get into what we're gonna talk about today. Um, get that up there. Tuesday tea time. Our topic today, are you ready? Bam. Wisdom topic. Yes and no sets our boundaries. Come on, let that little soak in for a little bit. Yes and no sets our boundaries. In my younger years, it was hard for me to set boundaries, to say no, and not feel like I was disappointing the person that was asking me to do something. And because of that, I would do things and then resent them later. And then I would also allow myself to be used. And, later on, I resent being used and resenting the person that I allowed to use me. But we all have to come to that reality that we allowed it, right? So let me share with you what I have on here. Says, get into the habit of confidently saying no and avoid engaging in debates because no is a complete sentence. Resist the urge to explain your boundaries, give no wiggle room. You know, if you think about that, no is a complete sentence. And you have to resist the urge to want to give in and want to please other people and, resist explaining why your answer is no. The answer is no, and that's the end of it. And when you do that, you give no wiggle room. And it's not that you're trying to be mean, it's not that you're trying to treat people, but setting boundaries and sticking to it is, you know, it's a safe place for you and the other person because you're letting them know where you stand and you're protecting yourself from being misused and abused. How about that? All right. So when we say yes to others, make sure that you are not saying no to yourself. We are not required to set ourselves on fire to keep others warm. I don't know who made that quote, but somebody put that out there, and I'm like, oh, that is really good. We are not required to set ourselves on fire to destroy our own selves to make other people warm. I think it's the first law of nature preservation is the first law of nature. You cannot save someone else when you're drowning. And I've shared that before. There was a older couple that lived in our neighborhood, and the husband, he became incapacitated and he couldn't take care of himself, or you could say handicap or whatever, but he became unable to take care of himself, and so his wife became his caregiver. And as she was trying, there was others that was telling her, she should let him go to a nursing home or somewhere where people can professionally take care of him. But they refused to do that. And she died before he did. And they end up having to put him in a nursing home anyway. So she really set herself afire to keep him warm. So that gives you an example. If there's no way that you should be putting out so much to the point where you wear yourself out till you're no good. That's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for all the relationships and even those that you may be responsible for. I remember when my dad, got to the place where, none of us could really take care of him. I remember one of my cousins called me, and she was telling me, she said, look, cousin, she said, it's okay if you have to put him in a nursing home, because at least he's getting the proper care that he needs, And, I took her advice, and it was the best decision that I had to make. Even though it was a hard decision for me to make, it worked out best for everybody. And so sometimes you got to make those hard decisions, but you know, you got to make sure that you take care of you first before you can take care of everybody else. I have a quote for you. Okay. So here we go. I got a couple of quotes because I'm like, wow, these are so good. I have to share them. So anyway, walls keep everybody out. Boundaries teach them where the door is. Isn't that a powerful quote? Yeah, because you know what? You don't really want to put walls up. You don't want to keep people out or anything like that. You just want to make sure that, you know, you keep the right boundaries, your own self. Look, we got a comment with what did I just do? Oh Lord. Oh, there we go. Here we go. I'm getting it together. Nanita said, I agree. We should take care of ourselves so we can take care of our loved ones. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, because that's wisdom. That's wisdom. And listen, I've had to do that, and I know how heartbreaking it can be to not have, to have to put your loved one in the care of somebody else's hands. But as long as you keep visiting them on a regular basis, everything is going to work out fine, and you'll feel good about yourself because you did the right thing and you're still there for them. And so that's important. Okay. So don't feel bad if you have to make some hard decisions and, put them in the safe hands of someone else. Okay. All right. So here we go. Our boundaries reflect our self-worth. What we allow is what we will have. Okay. They shield us from feelings. Oh, excuse me. Boundaries shield us from feeling used or taken advantage of. Now, I mean, your own self, somewhere in life, we have probably have not had boundaries in some area of our life where we should have had. And, we were feeling used, or people did take advantage of us because we didn't put those boundaries up there. And then it's a reflection. Think about that. Think about boundaries as a reflection of our self-worth. Your worth having boundaries, your worth, you should be treated right. And if you have to have boundaries to let people know, hey, there's a line in the sand, don't cross this. And if people just cross your boundaries on a consistent basis, you need to find somebody else to hang around with, because that person is telling you that they don't really have proper respect for you. And that's the reason why you have to say no, because you're teaching them how to respect your boundaries. And my last quote that I have for you, it says it all. Look at this quote. If someone throws a fit because you have set boundaries, it is more evident that boundaries are needed. That's an unknown quote as well. But I mean, that says everything, okay? If somebody's going to get upset because you're just letting them know what you like and what you dislike, it's evident that they need to be set. And boundaries will save you when it comes to dealing with people that have, mature issues. Let's just put it like that. And if they get upset, then, you just have to let them get upset, because sometimes people use anger as a manipulation method. And you have to be careful that you don't allow yourself to be manipulated. And that is the reason why you say no, and you keep your boundaries and don't, you know what? When we loosen, or when we draw back from our boundaries, what we're doing is we're even lowering our standards in life. And those things will eat us up from the inside. When you set boundaries and you keep your boundaries, come on, you're protecting your peace. And we all talk about how we need peace. And that's part of the reason why we don't have peace, is because we're allowing people to rob us from our peace. Set that boundary and say no. How about that for Tuesday Tea Time with Dorarena? Well, as I always say, I love you. And as always, walk in wisdom, my friend. All right. You have a good night.